Leah Remini and Elisabeth Moss. They're very similar. Here they are for those of you who haven't seen them before. Leah Remini, they both got popular because of very successful television shows. Elisabeth Moss from Mad Men, Leah Remini from Saved by the Bell, for those of you who remember that arc. Also
she was in Saved by the Bell?
Yeah, she was. You remember that arc? She was at the beach resort they went to, and she met up with Zach. And they got together and her dad ran it.
I don't remember that.
She also did a little show called King of Queens.
Yes.
Then
Elisabeth Moss, of course, in Handmaid's Tale now.
Yeah, so she has Handmaid's Tale. Leah Remini has a new show that's going into its second season. It's called Scientology and the Aftermath. And so surrounding that, she's doing PR for it and having discussions with a whole lot of media outlets. And the difference between these two is that while Leah Remini was in Scientology from an early age and got out, Elisabeth Moss has been in Scientology pretty much since an early age, and she is still in it. So when asked about Moss and what Leah Remini thinks of her, Remini said, there's this thing in Scientology called acceptable truth. It means you only say what's acceptable to the public, but she believes that I'm an antisocial personality because I've spoken out against Scientology. So she isn't allowed to talk to me, and knowing that, I wouldn't put her in the awkward position where the two to meet of bringing it up. Moss doesn't really talk about Scientology. She did a while ago, and since then she's kind of said things like this: I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I said what it meant to me, and anyone can go and look at it if they want to know what I feel, but now it's private, off limits. Asked about specifically what would happen if they were to meet, Remini said, I don't hold anything against Elisabeth Moss other than she's continuing to support a group that is abusive and destroying families. But that's for her to learn, just as I needed to learn it. So that's what she said. Cut to the TCA Awards, the Critics Association Awards, the Television Critics Association Awards. Ellen Thompson tweeted, Scientologist Elisabeth Moss left the room while Leah Remini accepted her TCA award. Hope she still heard what Leah said.
I think that was kind of the point of leaving the room. No, she didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that I suspect that the leaders of the church who care deeply about their celebrity supporters and people who are in the church told her if she wins, because it's not just that it's Leah Remini who's left the church and is speaking ill of it, she's winning for a show that is exposing what Church of Scientology is doing. I'm sure they asked her to leave the room and she left. Of course, I don't know that for a fact, but that's very likely. So, look, I knew that Leah Remini was in the Church of Scientology, and I thought, what a shame, back when she was, right? Like, I like her so much, and I can't believe she believes that crap. And then she came out and stopped believing it and then exposed it. I was like, yes, I knew she was a good one. But now I'm telling you that in the context of that's not quite fair. So I like Moss too as an actress. I think she's a great actress in the series that I've watched her. And Scientology, I believe, is a cult. On the other hand, and you guys, some of you get mad at me, but I think a lot of the religions are cults. So Scientology is absurd. A guy walking on water and being born of a virgin is not absurd.
Yeah, but you eat his body. You eat his body.
Oh, you eat his body.
You drink his blood.
Yeah, you drink his blood.
You made it much better.
Okay.
And then a guy who goes on top of a mountain and talks to Allah, and then Allah tells him all the things that are to his advantage, including having sex with everybody else's wives and daughters.
Yeah.
That's not absurd. That's not a cult.
I agree with you on how religion overall is absurd, right? And what people have been led to believe is absurd. However, I think that there is a difference between, let's say, mainstream Christianity and Scientology, in that with Scientology there is intimidation involved, there's abuse involved. These are all the allegations, right? Anybody who criticizes them is usually met with some sort of lawsuit or intimidation by the Church of Scientology. So that's one of the issues that I have. One of the main issues that I have. Now, if someone believes a particular religion because they genuinely want to believe it and it improves their lives or helps their lives in some way, that's cool. You know, there's consent there. But there's also like an intimidation campaign with the Church of Scientology that I think is creepy and should be investigated further.
Okay, so great point. And so let me just do two sides of that. On the one hand, you're absolutely right about that. The mainstream religions in the worldwide, have gotten so large that they can't enforce that kind of rigor anymore. Like if you leave the religion, there's going to be consequences. There's obviously some exceptions to that. It's generally religions that are smaller that do that. So Mormons do that, but the larger they got and the more time has gone on, they do it a little less. They used to do it a lot back in the day. If you left, you get ostracized. All your family shuns you, and then they track you down and try to intimidate you to get back into the church. All this is still done to some extent by the Mormon Church, as it is done by the Church of Scientology. So you say tomato, I say tomato, and other religions used to do it when they were smaller. So now but what I'm trying to, the part of the reason that I bring that up is not just to tell you not to believe in any of the religions, which you shouldn't. Okay, you should look into the facts and figure out if they were true. They're not. But mainly to tell you that, okay, you hold it against Moss, but she was born into it. And so it's easy to say, oh, I can't believe she's doing that. I can't believe she walked out of the speech. I can't believe she believes these crazy things. But a lot of us were also born into believing crazy things, and we still believe it. So most of the world believes in things that are empirically, obviously not true, but we don't blame us. We only blame Moss because that religion is new.
I mean,
you see what I'm saying?
I'm not blaming Moss for anything, okay? It's her life, and I do believe that the Church of Scientology will intimidate people if they're considering leaving, but I'm not blaming her for anything. She gets to do what she wants to do, and if she feels like she needs to stay in the Church of Scientology, do you, boo. But I do think it's important for people like Leah Remini, who had firsthand experience of what actually goes on behind the scenes, to come forward and share her experience. Because here's one thing that I also do know, living in Los Angeles. The Church of Scientology specifically appeals to people who are trying to break into the acting business.
Yes, they have
right?
a separate campus for their famous people.
Exactly, and so people come to Los Angeles looking to make it big, and they're in a very vulnerable place because it's a difficult industry to break into. And so you have these people preying on them, and that worries me. And so it's important for people who have firsthand knowledge of what really goes on to really spread the word so people don't get sucked in.
For me, it's the irony.
Can I just say that all I'm doing is spreading the word about all the religions because they all have different ways to suck you in. So in Shia Islam, they tell you, oh no sex outside of marriage, unless you get a special permission from a mullah, and you can get married for an hour to that woman over there for 100, whatever it is your currency is, right? Mm-hmm. Or by the way, you can get married to her for 2 hours or maybe a week if you like that. And that's all okay. And that's to lure them into becoming Muslims. I mean, that's your interpretation of being moral, right? So there's a lot of different scams.
Yeah,
you look into it.
It's the Dinars Club.
Yeah.
I don't know how you pronounce that currency, but it's like Diners Club, the credit card. The thing is, what's hilarious is with the irony of the fact that Elisabeth Moss, Scientologist, is in a show where this crazy cult takes over the government and she has to struggle with the oppressive regime that ensues.
I know, but
that's the thing that I don't care. If she's got a religion, whatever, do your religion. Don't hate on anybody or entrap them or shame members of your family who leave. Don't get caught up in that. And if you notice people getting caught up in that, speak out, get out of it, because that seems super unhealthy. But like, it's just hilarious to me that like what I have found from reading the book Scientology cover to cover, watching all the documentaries. I haven't seen Leah Remini's show, but I've seen interviews where she talks about it. It's just, it seems very similar to The Handmaid's Tale in terms of all the internal pressures that come about. No guns and anything, but
I agree with you, but humans are amazing. They can compartmentalize, parts of their lives. They can rationalize things that have no rationality behind them. Like we're amazing, right? We play all sorts of mind tricks on ourselves, so.
Crazy.
No, I'm not making an excuse for her, but it's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, and I don't want you to get me wrong. I think it's great that Leah Remini is speaking out against what Church of Scientology is doing. By all means, expose that scam. TYT membership gets you commercial-free Young Turks. Download it, stream it, podcast it, get all the network shows, and support independent media. TYTnetwork.com/join.